Hello class, this is your teacher Mr. McDougall with your next project tutorial. We are still in Unit 5 Photoshop, and I'm going to show you how to use a new tool called the Shape Tool. It's not actually called the Shape Tool, but there's different shapes you can make with it, and we're going to look at a new panel called the FX panel. So, as usual, here are some files for you to download. So click on it in order to download it. Go to the dots, open a new window, and then click this download icon right here. Again, I'm going a little bit faster than the other assignments. I want to get through this quickly so you can learn how to download the files. Eventually, I will stop walking you through the download process once you've gotten the hang of it, but I'll do it for these first few times. All right, so now we have our downloads. Let's go to our folder and our downloads. Here is our exercise file right here, the zip folder. These have the files in it that we need to extract. Remember, this file, the zipper one, is useless until we extract it. Right-click, extract all. Make sure this is not checked, and then click extract. And here are our files. Here are the ones that we want right here in this file folder, not the one with the zipper. This one's now useless. We can trash it. Let's open our Google Drive. So we can open a second window. And then let's save these. Intro to Graphics, Photoshop. Let's create a new folder for today's project. 503 Shapes and FX. All right, let's save these exercise files. Again, grab this one, not the one with the zipper. You want the one with the exercise files in it. Here's our 3 files to start using. All right, now that those are good, let's open Photoshop and get to it. Everything's backed up on our drive, so we can now start editing. Remember, your layout might be a little different. Yours might be closed like this. It might be open like this. However you have it open, make sure that for the majority of these assignments, you have at least this layers panel open right here, because we're going to see the layers. If you have this one closed, at least have the layers panel open. You can also extend it like this, because this is where 90% of our editing is going to live, in the layers panel. As I went over in the previous assignment, layers is the key to all the Photoshop. So however you want to do it, with this whole thing open or not, just make sure we could see our layers. I like to leave this open. It just makes it a little bit easier. So now open all 3 files that you just downloaded. Remember the different ways I showed you you can open it. You can go to File, Open. You can hit Control-O right here, or you can just drop all the files, select all of them, and then just drop them in here. Now they're all open. Pick one to start with. It doesn't matter which one. You'll edit multiple versions, but just pick one. We're still just kind of messing around and getting used to these things. All right, let's look at a new tool. Now we're going to look at the Shape Tool. If you come down here near the bottom, there's one that says Rectangle Tool. This is where the various shape tools are. By default, it's on Rectangle. Let's click on it. And now, if I use this, my mouse is a crosshair, I can draw a rectangle, just like that. You'll see now it's been added to my Layers panel over here for Rectangle. We're going to practice drawing a series of shapes and adding some effects. So look at the assignment right here. It says use the Shape Tool to create these shapes in different colors. The first one is a rectangle. And you can change the color however you like. By default, it's on black. In order to change that, come up here to where it says Fill. If you click on Fill, it gives you some color options. If you click on this little guy, it opens up this color window. And now I can pick whatever color I want or intensity. I can scroll through this wheel. If I want it to be pink, like a bright pink, click OK. And now I have a bright pink triangle, just like that. So the next thing I want to do is draw a square. So you're going to use the same tool to draw a square. There's no square tool. The way you make sure it's a perfect square is to hold the Shift key on your keyboard. So if I just stretch it like this without holding anything, I can make a weirdly shaped rectangle however I want. But if I want it to be a perfect square, I'm going to hold down Shift. So holding down Shift means no matter how I drag it, it's going to stay a perfect square every single time. So let's do a square now. Perfect. By default, it stays the same color as you just had, but we can change it by going back to Fill and picking a new color. Let's go with green. Go with a dark green. Okay. Perfect. You'll see each time we draw it, it creates a new layer on our Layers panel over here. Sometimes it might look like they get connected. If that happens, let me know. I'll help you get out of it. But it should, every time you draw a shape, it should be on its own layer right here. Here's the first rectangle. Here's the square. But occasionally they will get connected. And that does happen. If that happens, just let me know. You may just have to click away and then draw your shape again, and then it should be separated. Okay, let's draw our next shape. What does it say on Classroom? Our next one is going to be an oval. So to find the oval shape, you'll notice you don't see it anywhere over here. Even if you expand the menu, you may not see it. What you'll notice is that these little tools, some of them have these little tiny arrows to the right. You see how there's a small arrow right there? It means there's actually more tools grouped together with them. So on the rectangle tool, if I click and hold my mouse, click and hold for a second, you'll see it's actually going to pop up with these other ones right here. So this is where the various shape tools are, and that these are the ones that we're going to practice with right now. So to draw a shape like an oval or a circle, we're going to use this ellipses tool right here. So click on ellipses tool. Now if I draw an ellipses, it's like an oval, just like that. And it created its own layer. But again, let's change the colors. Make sure each of your shapes is a different color. It doesn't matter what color, but this is how you can get used to the fill and changing the colors around. Next shape is a circle. So to draw a circle, we're going to use the same tool, but we're going to use the same principles we used with the square. We're going to hold shift when we draw it to make sure it stays a perfect circle, just like that. And then let's change the color one more time. I like that. Okay. Oh, you see what happened here? This is what I was talking about. They got grouped together. What happened is the ellipses, they didn't separate into two layers. They stayed the same. So remember, anytime we make a mistake, Control Z is our best friend, Control Z. So if something like that happens, you may just have to click away and then go back to your tool and try again. So now let's draw our circle. And now it ended up on its own layer, just like that. So that might happen. That is okay. There. If you ever want to move them around, just go back to your Move tool, which is our default tool, and then you can click and drag and change the position of these if you want. If you have your transform controls option, you can also change the shape in case you made your shape too big and you want to mess around with it. Like that. Draw it however you want on your image. Again, we're just messing around. We're having some fun getting used to the layout of this thing. The next is going to be a 6-sided star with round corners. So let's draw a star. This one might be a little bit tricky. So I'm going to click out to make sure I don't group any of my shapes together. Let's go back to our shape tools. Let's click and hold. The way we draw a star, there's no star tool. We're going to use the polygon tool right here. Let's go to the polygon tool. The polygon tool by default will be a pentagram or a 5-sided shape. If I draw it like this, it's going to be this 5-sided pentagon sort of shape. Control Z to undo. To do a star, you can control the sides. So it says a 6-sided star with round corners. The way you're going to do that is, this is the number of sides right here. So by default it's on 5. I can retype it and put 6. Now it's going to be a 6-sided shape. See? To make it a star, we are going to go to the little gear settings, and where it says star ratio at its 100%, just turn it down. There's no set number it has to be. Just start turning it down until you find a spot that's comfortable. You can see if I turn it down to about 75, now it looks more like a star shape. I can even turn it down even more, maybe around 50 or so. Now it's a little more star, just like that. The last thing I wanted to put is that it has round corners. The way you're going to round the corners is with this guy right here. See how there's a little curve icon? If I click and hold and drag my mouse to the right, it increases the curve. Again, there's no set number you have to increase it to. Just mess around with it. Turn it a lot or just a little and see what happens. Now, if I draw this, now I have my 6-sided star with rounded corners. I could probably even make them a little bit more round than that. Let's go super round, see what happens. That looks cool. I like that. And again, you can stretch it. I can make my star flat or tall. If I hold shift, it maintains the perfect ratio. Holding shift will make sure it's equal on all sides. There we go. Let's change the color one more time. Let's go with a purple. I like purple. There we go. All right, one last shape we're going to do, and that is a custom shape. There's a lot of these you could play around on. So let's go back to our, I'm going to click away. Let's go back to our tools, our shapes, click and hold. And this one's going to be custom shape tool right here. See the custom shape? By default, it's not really on anything. You can come up here to shapes, and there's actually a whole bunch of just defaulted shapes you can choose from. There's a whole bunch of wild animals. See right here, here's a rhinoceros. If I click on that, if I draw, it's going to make a rhinoceros shape, if you can believe it. Or there's a whole bunch of other ones. There's a deer, there's an elephant, there's wild animals, there's trees. If I want to do a tree like this, now I have a palm tree shape. So pick any of these. Pick any one of these. Boats. We got flowers. There's a whole bunch of fun custom shapes you can use right here. Whatever you want to do, just draw a custom shape. Now I have an elephant right there. That's pretty cool. And let's make him a brand new color, our final color. What should he be? Let's go with like a red. There. Awesome. Now we have our shapes. Again, if you want to move them or change the shape, just go to your move tool and you can drag these around however you want. Now we're going to mess with some effects. So the way you're going to do that is to go down to this effects tab right here. And right now I can't do anything because I don't have a layer selected. This is why you need your layers panel open so you can select a specific layer. If I click on a layer, then this tab becomes available. See this FX one right here? I can click on FX and these are the effects we're going to add to it. So if you look at the assignment, it says add these to these shapes. The rectangle, we're going to add a stroke, which is a border. So the rectangle, if I go to FX, I'm going to go to stroke right there. It brings up a separate menu. And you'll see it's on my rectangle right now. The stroke just means it's a border. By default, it's black. And I can increase the size of it right here. See, that's what the stroke is. It's just some kind of border around the subject. So if I wanted it to stand out, I could do that. You could change the position. See how it's going on the inside? I could change it to the outside. So now the border is going around the outside. Or you can have it in the middle. So it goes between the inside and the outside. Just like that. Pick one, however you want to do it. Pick a new color if you want. But just add some kind of stroke, aka a border, to the rectangle shape. And then click OK. Excellent. Let's keep going. The next one says add a outer glow to our square. So if I click on this one, here's our square. Let's go to the FX panel. We're going to do outer glow, this one right here. So let's move these. You can always move these windows out of the way so you can see. This one you might not see at first until you mess around with some of the settings. So the blending mode, you can do normal. So change it from screen to normal. And then you can change the glow of the color right here. By default, it's probably on white. Let's put whatever color we want. Let's pick a color that stands out. Let's keep going with yellow. That stands out. You can increase the opacity, the size, and the spread. And you can see I have this glow now emanating from my green square. Different from a stroke. A stroke is just a solid line border, but the outer glow is like it's glowing from the shape. Maybe turn it down just a little bit. There we go. Again, whatever you want, whatever color you want, go with that. But now we're just adding a glow. Perfect. Click OK. Next up is the oval. We're going to add the bevel and emboss. So let's click on our oval shape. Again, the key is having this layers panel open so you know which one is highlighted and which one you're affecting. Go down to the FX and we're going to do bevel and emboss. This is a cool effect that makes it look like it's 3D. So if I bring this over here, I can increase, again, play with the sliders, increase the depth and the size. However you want to do it, you can mess around with these. I can adjust the angle. See this angle one, if I spin this little angle around, how it changes kind of the direction it's going, like that. So put whatever you want. You can put a big size one like that, or just a little bit. It gives it these curved edges. That's what a bevel is, to make it look like it's three-dimensional now. Perfect. Let's click OK. All right, next up is the circle, and we're going to add a gradient to this one. This one's pretty cool. So we're going to add a gradient, go to FX, and do gradient overlay. This is where you can add some cool color effects, so it's not just a solid color like it is right now. So to add a gradient, you're going to click in here where this little rectangle is. Click gradient. It opens up another window. It's going to keep opening up these windows, and you just have to keep clicking OK when you're done. So to change the gradient, you're going to come down here. See this long rectangle right here? Click on this little bottom square, and then click color to change the color. Gradient is a blend of two colors, or more than two. So I can click red, I can click blue. See how only some of it is getting color now? Click OK, and I can pick the other color right here. If I click on this square, and then I come to this color, I can pick a new color. Let's go with green. See, now I have it going between blue and green, and that's what it looks like right here. Now it's got this duotone color instead of just being one solid color like it was before. To add more colors, because the Google Classroom says add at least 3 colors, to add more, you just have to click underneath this bar right here. See how it turns into a little finger? If I click the bar, it'll add another square, and I can add a new color to it. Now it's a blend of 3 colors together. You can keep clicking and add as many as you want, but do at least 3. Let me do one more. And let's just go with like red. Now it's getting a little tie-dye. Okay. You can also change the angle of it as well. If I wanted to go more diagonal, I could change the angle. You can see how it's giving you kind of a preview right here. Now it's going up and down as opposed to left and right. But do whatever you want. Mess around with it. And then click OK. So now we have a cool gradient on the circle. Excellent. All right, almost done. The star now, let's go to our star. This one's going to get an inner glow. So just like we did with the outer glow in this one's just different. It glows from the inside, as you can imagine. Go to FX and then inner glow. So similar to what we did with the square, you can mess around with the blending mode. I would just put it on normal for right now, and you can mess with the opacity, the color. Let's have it do red, shall we? Right there. And then the size, the choke and the size right here will help change the intensity of the glow. See how it looks like it's glowing from the inside now as opposed to the square, which is doing an outer glow. This one's doing an inner glow. However you want to do it, just like that. Just mess around with it. See what these sliders can do because you'll use them later, and then you can kind of gauge how they work. Perfect. The last thing we're going to add to our custom shape, whatever custom shape you decided to go with, we're going to add a drop shadow. And that's a little shadow that appears behind it to make it look three-dimensional, kind of like we did with the bevel. So let's go to our elephant, FX, and at the very bottom down here we have drop shadow. Move this out of the way. Same thing, you can increase the opacity, the distance, the size, and the spread, and you'll see there's a shadow behind him now popping out. You can even change the angle. However you want to do it. Like that. You see, change the angle so it's going from a different side. You'll notice when I'm changing the angle that the shadow of the angle is also changing this one over here. So if I don't want this one to change, the way you can fix that is to check this box that says use global light. If this is turned on, it means it's using like a big light source that's affecting the entire image. If I turn this off, now my light source is only affecting this guy. So see, if I turn this around, it's no longer affecting my oval anymore. So you can adjust the angle and the intensity of the shadow and then click OK. Perfect. So that's how you mess around with the shapes and the effects panel. The other thing I want you to do, I'm going to have you take a screenshot of this whole space, but then I want you to repeat the same process on one of the other images. Pick either of these other ones. You're only going to do 2 in total, so do one like I just did. Pick another one and do the exact same thing. Do the same shapes, but do different colors this time. Do the same effects, but change it up. Make the shadow more intense, or do different colors for the gradient or different colors for the glow. Just mix it up. Again, just getting used to all of this. So remember to take a screenshot, go to your snipping tool, new, and use the whole window. Take a screenshot of this entire window, just like that, because I want to see your whole workspace. I want to see everything you've created plus what your panel looks like over here so I can see that you did the effects correctly. So take your 2 screenshots, this one and whichever other one you want to do, and upload that to the classroom assignment. Okay, good job, good luck, have fun, and let me know if you have any questions.